Hi, I'm Kim Peterson, and with me today is Catherine Evans. We are the authors of Creative Writing Energy, Tools to Access Your Higher Creative Mind. Hey, Kath, how you doing?
Good, Kim. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How you been? How's your weekend? Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you had friends.
I had a what?
A friend over, right? Visiting? A friend?
No.
No?
Did I?
Okay. Oh, God.
No.
I'm
I had
always
to
stuffing up your
my...
weekends.
I had to pull down my garden so I could get my fence removed.
Oh, a weekend in the garden. Cool.
Yeah, except it looks destroyed rather than better.
Well, it always does. And then it'll come good. You got to do, things have got to kind of crash down before you can rebuild them, right?
And at least we've had some rain, so they might rebuild all on their own.
Yeah, the rain's nice.
Yeah. So how was your weekend?
My weekend was good. We went down to, took the kids down to Shah Harbour Village, you know, where we have the workshop.
Oh, yeah. Did they like it?
Hey?
Did the kids like it?
Yeah. They love walking around the rocks and, you know, looking at crabs and all sorts of sea things.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It was a good weekend for it.
It was nice, yeah. Yeah, it was a bit chilly down there. A lot of people. Too many people.
There's always people there.
Yeah. Other than that, I am gearing up to talk to a Skype talk with Kelton Reid in a couple of days from the Writer Files. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, actually, he's been doing a series with neuroscientists. You'd be interested in this, Michael Kripke, and they talk about, it's called the writer's brain, and they talk about productivity versus creativity in the writer's brain and how it all works. It's really interesting. You should listen to that.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on. What are we talking about? Oh, creativity prompts. Do you want to tell everyone what that is today? Or I will.
It was at the start of the session.
It was, and it is. Just rewind. I will find a way to give my mind the freedom to explore the ideas it craves. So we're talking about...
That's scary.
Hey?
That's scary.
It is a bit scary, isn't it? And maybe a bit exciting.
Very.
Okay, so which goes... No. Go.
I said which goes very well with our topic today.
It does. World building. We're talking about world building. This was one of your topics that you wanted to talk about. Yes,
because I struggle with world building.
Sorry, your face.
And you just go crazy with world building. So I thought it'd be a good topic to do.
Crazy. I don't know, when I saw that, I was a bit, okay, what do I know about world building? You're like, you know this, Kim.
Yeah, but when I started writing, I used situations that I'd been in because I couldn't write a story and create a world. That was just too much for my poor brain to cope with. So I used places I knew and even instances that happened, and then created different thing around the world. So yeah, your world building and my world building is totally different. Kim's lost it because we totally forgot to do our oracle card prompts.
I'm flashing. you go. You go first. Let's do our cards for the session.
I'm using Trust Your Vibes again.
Mm-hmm. We love those vibes.
Oh, I'm Remember to Breathe.
Oh, remember you've pulled that one before, I think, haven't you?
I think I have, haven't
Oh,
I? Yeah.
you pulled that one on our launch day when we got together when you were here, I think. Yeah?
Oh. Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Well, I'm going to use Soul Journey. And I've already shuffled them. And the first card I'm pulling, relationships.
Oh.
Well, I'm attracted to those people who serve my higher good. I like that.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it is nice. So we'll see how that ties in with world building.
And breathing.
And breathing. Okay. All right, world building, Kath.
I just told you I'm not good at it. So tell me how you do it.
Tell me how I do it. I don't write, you know, in high fantasy. I don't, you know, how you were just saying that you use a ruler because you couldn't. It was too much to kind of think up of a world, you know, and then the characters and stuff. So I am similar, you know, like I haven't gone ahead and created some kind of world like what do we, you know, like Lord of the Rings or something, you know. Yeah, so I usually I don't think there's really any hard or fast rules when it comes to world building. I think that you do need some kind of solid plan in your mind so you know what you're going and what you're working with from the get-go. And you obviously need to consider if your world is taking place in our world or a secondary world, you know, like Lord of the Rings or what other worlds are like that? There are high fantasies. Do you know?
Like Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, yeah. Harry Potter.
Like,
he goes
yeah.
to the
Enid Blyton stuff. Go back to childhood. But she steps both ways, doesn't she?
Like The Labyrinth. Did you ever watch The Labyrinth?
Oh, yeah.
David Bowie.
Yeah, there's a lot of that I can't even think of. But
and then we got the creatures and things as well. So
like Avatar.
Avatar, yeah, Avatar.
But it was kind of built on a jungle, wasn't it?
Yeah, another planet. It was, yeah, cool. Okay, I guess the perks of using a secondary world is the freedom that it can give to the writer, because you're creating your world rules and you don't have to be, you're not tethered to historical paths or rules of this world. So that's a good thing to consider when you are creating a secondary world. For me, I like, for example, with my vampire world, I'm not kind of I'm using Earth, like it's in Earth, but but not any particular place on Earth kind of thing. I've kind of created my own city. And one of the reasons why I chose to do this is because I'm an Australian author, and I don't know about you. I mean, you base a lot of your stories in Australia, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And I kind of want to appeal to more of a worldwide audience, and namely maybe the US market, because the US readers they love genre fiction, and a lot of my readers are based in the US, and you know, the hardcore binge readers. And while they have read my other work, which you know, like my Ascended Angels was based here in Australia, they did read that and that was fine. But for this series, I wanted it to kind of be a bit of a kind of generic and to sort of go over wherever they wanted to place it. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know if that is the right thing to do, but that was sort of the reasoning behind sort of creating my own city within Earth. Yeah. But having said that, you know, it is a dystopian book. So I did need to consider things like the social organization and the government rules, and the technology, and you know, what event kind of caused the world to become the way it was. And I think it's important to kind of anchor that in to your story quite early, so readers, you know, they know what's going on and they can invest in your story in that way. Otherwise they might be like, well, what's going on, you know, why is it like this, and whatnot. So I think that's important to establish quite early on. Yeah, do you have anything to add?
I know, I'm thinking about the Australian cultural things.
Okay, that got
you
you.
know, yeah,
Yeah,
because I do write Australian settings because that's what I know and that's what I'm comfortable in, and maybe that's part of, you know, developing as a writer. Maybe you can, you know, maybe I've started setting them in events that I knew, and now I've moved to Australia that I know. Maybe in the future I can expand to, you know, somewhere else without panicking.
You mean like basing in another country, or creating your own country, or?
Yeah, both. Because now I'm quite comfortable creating my own town, you know, and you know, created my own town, my own football teams, my own characters. Yeah, so each time I write, I think I'm getting better at creating more and more things in the story.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe with time you do expand your horizons and get brave and go bigger with your world building.
Definitely. I think, you know, it's like with anything, the more you do it, the more you expand that muscle, right? You know, even our imagination, you know, like the that sort of inner resource that we all have. And a lot of times we're so hyper connected, and there's such a hyper connected world, and with all the demands and everything, a lot of people lose that kind of inner childlike imagery, you know what I mean? It's it can be lost, and that's one thing I love about being a writer, you know, being able to kind of just sort of let that loose a bit. And it doesn't always just come like that either, you know. You've, like you said, you kind of got to build it, you build on it, you know. You can always thinking, well, what if, you know.
And I think you see like J.K. Rowling or Tolkien or George R.R. Martin, and you only see the end product, you know, of the fantasy series that, you know, is unbelievable in this created world that's just out of this mind that captures everyone's attention. But maybe we don't know, you know, how many years it took them to develop that, or
well, that's right,
how much creation went in behind it. You know, we miss all that stuff.
How much procrastination.
Well, yeah. Obviously not as much as us, or they wouldn't have so many books out.
Yeah, it is interesting. No, you don't see behind the scenes, you know. For every book that's written, you know, there's a whole lot of process and sort of working out that balance between productivity and creativity, and that is a balance, you know.
Yeah.
That's why I think you should go and listen over to the writer files, because it's really interesting. I did, you know, because we're doing this show, I did find this world building tool that's available for writers or for any creative, and it's called World Anvil. Have you heard of that?
No. I don't plan anything, so I don't look for any tools. I'm terrible.
It's like a tool. It's available for authors, and what you can do is you can go in there and create your world. It's like a world Bible. It looks pretty cool, actually. I was looking at it, it's like, and then it's interactive for your readers as well, so you can go in and build your world, manage your plots, and develop your characters as well, and map out your actual world. Like, you can create your world online, like what you're thinking. I know.
God, is this like Pinterest where you just get sucked in and never get out again?
I know. Yes.
Oh no.
I was looking at it, I was like, whoa, you know, you could really spend a lot of time there, you know. It looks pretty cool. I might have to check it out sometime when I have a bit of, you know, all that not spare time that I've got.
Yeah.
But it could be a good way to actually gauge your readers, like between releases and books, and you can release like exclusive content through World Anvil just for your like Patreons.
Okay.
Yeah, and for your readers and things like that. So it you know, might be worth looking into.
I was at the Romance Writers conference a couple of weeks back, and Nalini Singh was giving a talk on writing series, and one of the first things she said was, don't make your series Bible a procrastination tool. And I thought, oh yeah, that's such a good thing.
Yeah.
But now you're talking about that, it's reminding me of what she said, because that sounds like absolutely perfect procrastination tool that you get in and never get out.
You could convince yourself, no, I'm working on this, you know, because it's so, you know, fun, instead of actually getting the words out. But
yeah,
I mean, maybe it's something
creating the world. Yeah,
maybe it's something you could do on the side. Like I don't actually go into a whole lot of pre-detail with my worlds. I don't. I kind of keep it as simple as I can. I mean, for book 2, for my Blood Legends series, I had to actually create a different world within the same world, because I've got one half of the city domed in a dome and the other half is not. So the main character is in the dome for the second book. So that was like creating a whole new world, you know, which at first, when I started writing, I was a little bit daunted. I'm like, well, how am I going to get this dome to operate? You know, like, I've got to make it sound like it's reasonably, you know, believable in how all these people are living under a dome under the city. So I thought that maybe it would be too intricate, but as I started working through it, it was quite simple. I kind of made it its own ecosystem, and the dome panel is like a big solar panel that provides them power. Yeah, and so this part of the city is like much more technically advanced. Like, the technology is more advanced than out in the ruins. So it was interesting to do that. You know, I thought it was interesting for me.
And then you didn't have to build it all at once. You could build the first bit in the first book and the second bit in the second book.
Yeah.
And then the third book, they all come together, or are you in another world?
The third book she's back out of the dome, but she will be going to the mountains, which I've mentioned a couple of times, and for a specific reason. So it'll be like another world that she's got to kind of discover in these mountains, you know, to get back to do what she needs to do. So, yeah.
So the world creation is supporting the story.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I like about this one, it's kind of, there's so many ways I can go with it. You know, like I'm not looking at stopping at book 3. I'm gonna keep going for a while, because there's just so many things and stories and side stories that I can pick up on, you know, that I kind of plant little seeds along the way.
Okay.
You know, and yeah, I've just got to sit down and write it.
Oh, that's the easy
procrastination.
I know, you wish you could just download your brain of a night and so the words just came out while you slept. That'd be handy.
Sometimes I think, I wish I didn't need to sleep. Like, just
it's like a wasted 8 or 9 hours, isn't it? But
I put Lakota to bed. You know, he's 6, and almost every night he's like, I hate sleep. It's boring. It's boring. I'm like, you're not going to say that one day. Boring.
I used to work with guys who told me to sleep when I was dead, because, you know, it's much more fun to keep, you know, working, doing stuff.
Yeah, had that one before. I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah. Burns you out, though.
You need to sleep. You need to sleep, otherwise you can't write. And
no,
you know,
and you have to recharge and let that subconscious percolate away, so you wake up with ideas.
Meditation is good for that too.
Yeah.
So I might pop the link to the World Anvil, if I'm pronouncing that right, in the YouTube notes, and the Patreon notes. So we've just created our own Patreon, haven't we, Kath?
Yes, we have. Such optimistic souls we are.
We are. Because we're killing it, no.
No, we're hoping somebody might, you know, like to shoot us some money so we can keep doing this.
Yeah, just
creativity prompt cards.
If you like what we're doing, for as little as $1 a month, you can support us and gain access to some bonus exclusive content, which we're offering and still working on to create some more, and we'll be sort of, you know, adding to all that as we go. But for now, we'd love to have you over there, and you can be part of our little community that we're building. our little clan or tribe.
Of creative writers who get stuck.
Creative writers who get stuck, yeah. So we're all going to like unstick each other.
Sounds great.
Okay, so if you want to get unstuck, head over to patreon.com/creative writing energy, and you can also find out more over at Whispering Ink Press /creative writing energy. Yeah?
Excellent.
Okay, so how'd your card go?
Yeah, well, remember to breathe. I think when you're building worlds, you have to stop.
Breathing.
You know, don't panic. Breathe.
You have to stop breathing. I don't mind. Relationship. When you're building worlds, I guess you are building relationships somewhat.
What was the bit underneath your relationship thing?
I'm attracted to those people who serve my higher good.
Maybe you need people to support you as you build worlds too. You know, you need
every writer
with you
supporting.
Characters in your story has to support the world.
Yeah.
Plus, you don't want people bagging your world. You want people who like your world, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, as writers, because it can be such a solitary process, we all need our relationships and our connections, and you know, to support us during the writing process. And, you know, the imposter syndrome, which I get all the time. I don't know about you, but like, what the hell am I doing? But you need those relationships. They're important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Very much so.
Are we done? How long have we been doing this?
I don't know. I forgot my watch today, so I can't tell you.
Yeah. Okay.
But we seem to have talked a lot about worlds and our Patreon, so I think
Anything
we're good.
else to add? No.
No. Hopefully, one day we'll be creating mind-exploding worlds.
Mind-exploding.
We'll turn into Tolkien.
Like high fantasy, you mean?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
wanna do
worlds that people will just fall in love with. That's my aim. One day.
Worlds where people want to be. They want to, where people want to be in your world.
Yeah. Or one of those writers, you know, where other writers want to write in your world. That would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be cool.
All right.
Okay.
So that's
want to
my
write
aim.
in the world.
Grow up.
What did you say?
That's my aim for when I grow up.
Okay, cool. I can't wait for you to grow up.
Mightn't happen in this lifetime. Just grow old, don't grow up.
Yeah.
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan.
See, there's a good world.
Actually, I have to say this quickly. I never understood, you're talking about growing up, you know, like growing up but not actually aging. You know, like vampires are very good at that. And what's that series, the Twilight series? You know, it always got me that there's Edward or whatever his name is. Is that his name? Edward?
Edward, yeah.
And the I can't remember the
werewolf, and Bella's the girl.
Bella. And I'm thinking, Bella's what, at school? She's at school age. Here's this vampire like 100 years old. I'm thinking, what the hell does he want with her anyway? You know, like, yeah, she's pretty, she's young, but what are they going to talk about? 100-year-old person and an 18-year-old? Never children.
But
Look,
vampires...
I don't think I'd find much stimulation in an 18-year-old guy.
No.
That's what I'm thinking.
But there's something about vampire worlds where it's not every 18-year-old that attracts them. It's only the 18-year-old that they fall in love with, isn't it?
But she's still 18.
Like, look at Anne Rice's Lestat and that. You know, like they had their
I love
like
that book.
A little coven of vampires, but they ended up hating each other, and they had to bring in, fresh meat, so to speak.
Yeah,
which has to be young people, doesn't it? Really,
but they didn't really have any romances in that.
No, well, they sort of did, but they didn't really last, did they?
Well, they brought in Claudia. But that was...
Well, she was a child.
Yeah, that was too...
But they both loved her, didn't they?
I think Lestat, you know, I'm not a big Tom Cruise fan, but I loved him in that film. Like, yeah, Tom Cruise isn't my kind of thing. Hey?
I didn't even see the movie. I'm just all book.
Yeah, the book was good. The book was good too, and a bit different to the movie from memory.
Oh, okay.
Did you read the book? Oh, because you didn't read the movie. I mean, read the movie. You didn't read the movie. No.
Okay. No, movie scripts don't do it for me.
Hey?
Movie scripts don't do it for me.
Yeah, well, the books are always better, aren't they?
I think so.
Yeah. I'm just trying to remember. Yeah, books are always better. We've got to say that we're authors. So.
Yeah, of course.
Alrighty.
All right.
So I think we're going to say goodbye again after that little add-on chat about
vampires
vampires and, you know, sleazy vampires on 18-year-old girls that.
But really, how many 100-year-old people would they have around to sleaze onto? Not many. And it looked creepy.
Well, maybe they're like 100 years old, but their brain might stop actually working because, you know, when they turn into vampires when they're like 80, and maybe their brain just doesn't grow anymore. So then, you know, that's a good way to look at it.
Hormonal 18-year-old for the next 3 centuries. Oh, great. No wonder the world's a mess.
Why don't I understand the world? I gotta go kill.
All right, off you go to your vampires.
Right. I think I need to go write vampires now. Yeah. All right. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
See ya. Bye.